Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us today. We are here with a representative from all three of our CRM partners, so we're glad you guys could all make it. We are here talking about CRMs and how to really leverage them, especially right now that everyone's pipeline is so full. So we're going to be talking about making processes more efficient and how you can really leverage it the best. So we are here with Josh Cohen of Shape, Josh Friend of Incelerate, and Randy Toby of Lion Desk. So thank you guys for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
So starting out, I think it's important to recognize the fact that CRMs aren't a one solution fits all. It's really about finding what works for your business. So brokers a lot of the time will talk to each other and get feedback on certain products, and that's great, but you also have to remember you have to identify what's best for your business. So starting out, Josh Cohen, I'll kick it over to you first. How do you think is the best way for a broker to go about identifying the need in their business and finding a CRM that's best for them?
Yeah, it's a great question. Finding the right CRM can be a daunting process because there are so many options out there. I think identifying your biggest challenge is the first step to finding the right system that's going to work for you. I hear on a daily basis, I speak with brokers and members of AIME every single day. And it seems to be that the biggest challenge, generally speaking, is follow-up, right? We have so many people in our pipelines. Leads are coming in, rates are low right now, and it's hard for them to keep up. So following up with previous clients, farming repeat business out of existing relationships can be really important. Something that Shape focuses on specifically is ease of use. So that's been a huge advantage for us, right? We know that the audience that we're speaking to, brokers, loan officers, processors, not only are they super busy, but they're sales professionals. They're not engineers or coders. So everything that we have built and continue to build is with the specific mission of making it easy to use so that you're not spending wasted time figuring out how to configure your CRM for your needs. The other piece that a lot of people are looking for are integrations with their other softwares that they're using in their tech stack. So I think it's important to make the CRM easily connectable with other platforms that you're using to run your workflow.
Yeah, absolutely. Randy, I'll kick it over to you.
Yeah, Josh answered a lot of that, right? We are talking about, the same thing with cars, right? BMW, Mercedes, it's a different thing for everybody, fitting what their wants are. One thing that I would definitely say is play to your strengths as well, right? If you would at, let's just say, doing video or something like that, like look for a program that you can utilize to really amplify what you're good at, right? If one's really focused around sending emails and you don't like to send emails, but you like texting, right? Go that direction. So I believe that everybody has superpowers, right? And they do things better than others. So double and triple down on your strengths. And, like Josh said, those weaknesses, obviously find some things to complement those, but double and triple down on what you're good at and then do the follow-up with that tool.
Yeah, I love that. That's a good point. Josh?
Yeah, I mean, both great answers. What I think I'd add on to that is, I think if you're a lender, a broker, what I'd ask yourself the question of, are you a heavy tech user, a light tech user, right? What are you really trying to get at? Are you really a process-driven individual? Are you wanting a system that you actually work in, interact with? Are you trying to build something new, a new way to do loans, a digital process? Or if you're not, and to Randy's point, if hey, video is what you really like, or this one thing is how you do your business, and maybe you're not trying to reinvent how you do business, and you're not trying to, go after the digital market as much or something, then, find the CRM that's less complicated, that's easier, that's, you may not have as much functionality, but it's what you're going to use. Or if you're someone who's wanting to actually build off of technology, and you want to look for a system that has more capabilities, right? You can integrate with, that you can make changes to, that can really kind of, grow with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And Josh Cohen, to your point, I know we talk to brokers a lot too, and follow up is it's tough. It's tough to manage your pipeline and be able to follow up with your past business. So, what would you say is a good ratio of time to really focus on the current business that you have and following up with your past business? How do you manage that?
Yeah, it's a great question. They're equally important. Nobody wants to leave money on the table. And so leveraging those previous relationships is really important. But of course, something we talk about a lot internally here is speed to lead. So every time a lead comes in, you want to be connecting with that person as soon as possible before they start shopping for another broker. And sometimes that requires some relationship building and getting on the phone and speaking directly to that potential client. So we allow automation for following up and nurturing everybody else in your pipeline in addition to your new leads. So, we have filters in place where you can pull up lists right away of people that you want to target so that you can either reach out to them via phone, text, or email, but you also have the ability to do mass drip campaigns through whatever communication methods you want. So, I think it's important to find a CRM that is doing a lot of that tedious admin work for you and reaching out to people on your behalf with the content that you want them to receive without really spending any time and taking any time out of your day, right? In my opinion, the biggest advantage that a CRM can provide to any of our users is putting time back into your day so that you can focus on what you do best, which is generating more leads and closing more loans and growing your business.
Yeah, absolutely. Automation is king.
Yeah.
So, Josh Friend, I'd love to hear your input.
Yeah, I think I guess the question was really how do you do follow up, or how do you devote time to follow up, or how do you manage that? So I guess to highlight the point of follow up, and even I'm just going to say initial contact. We've done a study for 4 different years now. Each year we go to about 1,000 lenders online. So we use the MBA's list of largest lenders. We go online and we apply for a mortgage. We ask them for a mortgage through whatever method they have, whether it's a point of sale solution, a contact me now form. What we have found in those 4 different years of studies, the best year, it was only 56% of people didn't respond. On average, almost 60% of lenders don't respond to one, not even speed to lead. They don't even respond one time. And then of the people that did respond, the average person only responded 1.3 times. Less than 2% of people use text messaging. So, I mean, the reality is no one in the industry is doing this very well. Let me rephrase that. There are some people doing this extremely well, and there's the rest of the industry who's doing this very poorly. It's probably
Right.
that's maybe a better way to say it. So, automation. First step is automation. You have to have automation in place to put in there. So whether you're communicating through email, through text, through Ring's voicemail, through a Facebook post, through Instagram targeting, you want a system that does that. That's when we built our platform for engagement. We kind of saw the struggles that lenders had, which was one is, they don't have the technology to do the follow-up or the time, but they also didn't have the time to create the content or the time to create the strategy of it. So I think that's also important when you're looking at a system is what best practices can you leverage, right? So we're leveraging, we've had 3 million borrower applications in the last 3 years and 70 million prospects in the last 3 years across our platform. So we're looking at all the contact points between an email and a text and a Ring's voicemail and a Facebook post and a piece of direct mail, an Instagram post. What's the ideal way to get these people to continually come back to you? So if you can automate that, put some intelligence behind it, that's the biggest part of the battle. The second thing is make it a habit that you spend 30 to 45 minutes every day just prospecting old customers. You just time block it, say you're going to do it. And the amount of money you can make by doing that, and use a system like what we do is prioritize alerts. So it will give you a work list every day. It's going to give you people you should follow up with based off of how long it's been. So have a way. We have an automated way to tell you here's the people you follow up with. But if you were to spend and just time block 30 to 45 minutes every day to follow up with past customers, referral partners, etc., if you're not already doing that, you're gonna make more money. There's no question about it. Your income will go up. So it's just time block. Put yourself to do it. And then if you have a system that automates it all, right, it's obviously you're going to get a compounding effect and a huge lift as well.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point because so many brokers right now, their pipelines are so full. So they say, I don't have the time to even get these systems in place. But if you think about all the time that it's going to be saving you when you do get these systems in place and get the strategy down and it's just all automated, you're going to save so much time and be able to work on the high level things that you should be working on.
Yeah, it's like riding in a horse and buggy. And people are driving past you in cars, and you say, "Oh, I don't have time to go buy a car right now. I'm trying to get to New York City on my horse and buggy." Right? Yeah,
that's right.
It's time to pull over and upgrade.
Randy, how about you?
Listen, I mean, this is a business where the more hands you shake, the more you make, right? So I'm going to say that I would weigh a little bit more heavy on the outreach, up from where Josh said, he said 50-50. I'm going to say 60, more like 60% in my personal opinion from our experience. I think if you want unlimited earning potential, right, one thing that you can really focus on is more engagement and more outbound communication. If you can generate your own leads and you can create conversations, i.e. engagement, you're going to win, right? People and processes can be put in place to do the processing and managing of the loans. This business historically is a feast and famine type of business, right? Real estate and financial service. So I think if you can continue to stuff that pipeline full, right, where it's bursting, build processes. And again, I'm talking with Josh and Josh, right? Like Josh said, you got to slow down for 5 minutes to put some of those processes in place, because tools like ours will automate a lot of the initial outbound communication. And then we deploy tools where when people engage, that's where you need to jump. Right? Speed to lead, like we talked about, is really, really important. So when you have a drip campaign or some type of automation going out, when people open, respond, etc., you want to be there, right? You want to be there to start that conversation. The real gold is in the engagement, right? Conversations lead to appointments, and appointments lead to deals and referrals and all these other things. So, I'm just a huge proponent of talking to more people, right? Churning that up and going about it that way. Technology has created a great leverage tool, and you need to prioritize your time, right? What are you looking to do? And there's areas where you will have to sacrifice and put those processes in place while you continue to build and grow the business based upon your goals, obviously. Some people don't have ambitions to just, double and triple their business every year. Some people want incrementally do it, or they just want to maintain this area because that's what they're comfortable and they've prioritized things as. So that would be my recommendation.
That's great. And a follow-up to that question, I know, especially Josh Friend, you had really gotten into the types of follow-up that you can do. Have you guys seen any success leaning one way or another as far as the type of follow-up? So whether it's a newsletter, an email, send a text message, or have you seen any really unique ways of follow-up that people have had success with? Yeah, Randy, I'll go to you first on this one.
You're going to go to me?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. Text messaging, hands down. Text messaging has a 95% open rate. If we think about how many unread emails we have versus unread text messages, us as consumers, right? Like we go right to it. Hopefully us as marketers, we also don't kill it at the same time. The benefit of a text message, it's short, it's sweet, it's direct. Hopefully it brings value, and you got the occasional call to action in there as well, right? To create that sense of engagement. So I think that's definitely one of the best things that you can do. I call it like engagement missiles. And if you want to supercharge that, send out video text messages, right? People remember more of what they see and they hear, and they also remember people and connect with people at a whole new level. Like if we look at any of the platforms today, we pull out, the remote control to our lives, all of the platforms are going video, and there's a reason behind this, right? So you want to supercharge it, do video text messaging, because then you can actually have that short, sweet conversation face-to-face. And now people aren't necessarily meeting face-to-face, right? So what better way to utilize video and text messaging? That would be my opinion on what one of the best opportunity is right now, because I think even Josh Friend said it. Would you say, Josh, like less than 2% of people are taking advantage of texting?
Yeah.
Monstrous opportunity. Just do it. Yeah. Just do it like on the up and up. That's all I could say.
Well, that's the challenge. And that's why lenders are having a challenge with text messages, because of the compliance of it and having the ability to manage it. That's what we're seeing as the biggest barrier to entry is either A, they can't track compliance, like opt-in, or B, they don't have mobile access to the text message. So their platform sends out a text message to the customer. The customer responds back from a drip and says, yeah, I'd love to buy that house. I'm ready to make an offer, Josh. What can I afford? And if I can't respond to that customer, then it breaks that whole communication chain. If I have to go log into my computer and get in front of my desk and send a message back, then I'm no longer in that, connected point straight ahead. That's why we see so few lenders that use text. Or truth is, their loan officers are probably using their cell phones, and it's just uncompliant. They're not tracking. They have no idea what's going on. So
Right.
I think that's actually a challenge that we've seen that lenders are trying to solve.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I'm glad, Randy, you included the video piece. We're finding also that you're able to tap into a much wider audience. There are folks that will just delete emails that have too much text in them. But if there's a 20, 30-second video that they can watch where the broker is speaking directly to that lead or that client, you're able to engage at a much higher level. I also agree it's important to tap into multiple methods. Some people they learn by hearing, other people learn by seeing. So having all of those contact points in one particular email or text message is super important. But yeah, text is definitely the way of the future, much higher open rate. And also people are seeing those messages much faster than an email as well, right? We're finding most people that look at text messages are opening them within the first 5 minutes. The compliance piece is also super important. We've heard some horror stories of folks who are texting information to leads and clients from their personal cell phone. And if you continue to text a person that is asked to not receive information via text, there are legal headaches coming your way. So it's really important that when somebody opts out, the system, the CRM that you're using is no longer capable of delivering text messages to that phone number, so that you don't get into hot water. So, we're seeing a lot of success with video marketing. Companies like BombBomb are doing a great job of making it easy for brokers to create great content. And we make it really easy to pull that content in.
Val, if I might share one last thing about what we just talked about, and I think Josh, you kind of mentioned it's multiple channels. So what you'd ask the question, are we seeing anything that's been unique as far as our contact method strategy? So I think one way to look at it is not everyone responds the same way, right? So some people, there's certain ways you're never going to get a hold of me, right? I'm just not going to respond. And there's other ways. I'll give you my own example. I've been an Amazon Prime member for, 2-3 years, something. And I'd gotten emails, hey, Amazon Prime Video, you should log in. You've paid for it. It's free. I've seen banner ads. I know Amazon Prime Video actually is part of my service, and I can get it. And when I log into the Prime thing, there's even sometimes a little thing that pops up and says, hey, you haven't used Prime Video, give it a try. Never tried it. Then one day, I went in my mailbox, opened it up, there was some mail. And lo and behold, there is a piece of mail from Amazon. And I went, I'll open this, opened it up, and it said, Dear Josh, you've been an Amazon Prime member for a year and a half. You've never used Amazon Prime. You should log in and try it. And here's 3 shows we think you would like. I went and logged in that day and used Amazon Prime. So it's a combination. What we're seeing is some people, half people respond right away, but some people, it's a combination of touching them in different touch points. Just like if you guys are buying, we all have this experience right now in consumer goods. Go look for a car or for some shoes or for I was looking for a new barbecue grill for my backyard. I get barbecue grill ads and barbecue ads on my Facebook, Instagram, everywhere. I'm seeing this everywhere. Buying a barbecue. Well, you can do that as a lender. People don't realize that. You can do that as a lender, and it's cheap and it's easy. It's one of the things that we do is we automate. What we do is it's called custom audience targeting in Facebook and in Instagram. So if I have Val Miller and you come and talk to me, I actually will drop an ad in your feed, whether or not you're my friend or not. So now all of a sudden, this is what we're seeing a lot of engagement, which is customer gets an email, they see a Facebook post, then they get a text the following day and they respond to that text. Versus customer B doesn't get those first 2 pieces, only gets the text, and then a lower percentage of those people respond. So
Right.
what we're really looking at right now is just the customer experience. How do you really manage a customer experience? You don't want to over communicate because you make them mad. If you text someone every day, they're not going to be happy with you. No one wants that. You don't want to call them every day. They won't be happy with you. If you email them every day, they won't be happy with you. But if you know how to create the right pathway and create the right customer experience, so you're not intrusive, but you're branded around them, because any broker of any size, anyone can all of a sudden become the biggest lender in their consumers' eyes immediately once they interact with your brand. And that's really what we're seeing is very powerful, is touch them in all these channels. That way you're always forefront in their mind.
Yeah, and I think it's also about creating value when you do the follow-up. So if I'm getting a text message every day or an email every day that provides no value to me, that's going to be annoying. But if someone is giving me something that I can actually use, I think that's so much more impactful, and they're going to look forward to your content rather than giving them useless information.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and we actually start out our customers with pre-built templates, pre-built drip campaigns. We know that folks are way too busy to sit down for a month and create all of that content right away. Certainly, there will come a time where you have to create some new content and run a new marketing campaign, and that's very easy to do in our system. But we are taking best practices from folks that have been brokers and loan officers for a long period of time, and providing that content right out of the box. So, certainly we want you to personalize it, add videos if that's something that you want to dive into. But right away, we can turn on some of those campaigns based on those best practices and automate that process for people right away. Instead of wasting time, spending 6 months trying to figure out how to configure your CRM, that's a huge obstacle for people, right? A lot of the folks that come to us, and I'm sure to you guys as well, they've had a not so great experience with another CRM platform. They've paid for a year in a lot of cases, and they don't know, they still haven't gotten any value out of it because they're spending so much time customizing and configuring. So again, it all comes back to that ease of use piece, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So from what you guys have seen, other than the straightforward, these are the things that a CRM should solve for, what are some creative ways that people can use a CRM and they should really be leveraging, especially during this time when pipelines are so full?
Yeah, I'll take a crack at it because we're actually coming up with a new product, and I'll give a little highlight of what it is. But some of it's data intelligence. So we have our partners that say like Sales Boomerang, Monitor Base, Data Mix, that they're creating, watching your past portfolio, seeing what's going on with it, telling you what's taking place, and you integrate with the CRM. That's going to give you the ability to call and connect to the right people. We're also now bringing in, and we've had our lenders tend to drive the roadmap and products for us. So we've had some lenders who has integrated to our platform this data intelligence where a lead comes in, and as their customer talks to the lead or their loan officer connects to the lead in real time, they're pinging and pulling back information like the listener and title, how the title's held, what the value of the house is, an AVM, how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, do they have a pool, how many square feet do they have, what their current rate is, who their current lender is, and when they took their last loan, and what the current equity is. They're getting all this in like a split second. So now when they're having a conversation, they're very efficient. They know exactly what to talk to the customer about. And then they're leveraging that data on the back end to say, hey, I want to market to people. I am too busy. I'm only going to send these text messages out to people whose loan amounts are over 300,000 and their LTVs are less than 75%, and they have current interest rates above 4%. Right? They start getting very specific with their marketing, with their database. So now, if you take, when I was a loan officer, 99, I worked at AIME Bank, and I remember there was a time we had 3-hour hold times in the queue. You'd pick up the phone, there'd be 3 hours of people on hold waiting to talk to you, which is great. And I'm sure AIME Bank would have loved it if they could have made sure all the people with the high loan amounts came to the front of the line. And but we didn't have that ability. You do with technology, though. So that you can do. You can use our technology. You can make sure that you're messaging the most to your highest value customers. You can prioritize and connect to the highest value customers. And that's how you become most efficient. So we're seeing people use data, and it's now a product we're going to be offering soon just in our platform where you're going to have data intelligence. So now you know who to market to, when to talk to them, who to call, etc.
Yeah, I love that. Randy?
Yeah, so I think kind of more what we talked about a little earlier, by deploying these strategic blended campaigns, where the text message goes out, the video goes out, the Facebook ad goes out, right, all through the system, I think is one of the best things that you could possibly do. We've launched or we're launching some artificial intelligence via SMS as well, where it actually engages with the customer, has real life conversations with these people, asks the appropriate questions, and then automatically will log the conversations into the contact record so that you have a full trail. And fortunately, we do have a mobile app, so you can actually see that conversation happening in real time, and that LO can take over. So it's kind of like having that virtual assistant that's a robot doing a lot of the initial conversations for you. And I think with what Josh said, I think that this is just the beginning. I think between data intelligence and AI, we're going to be able to deliver more value, more precise information based upon that customer faster and more effectively, which hopefully will reduce it actually takes from a conversion and a follow-up standpoint. So I think that those are some things that are definitely moving the game forward. And I mean, it's going to come down to where you're just basically making sure everything is happening, right? Mm-hmm. And you kind of got to be like Oz. And with a lot of these tools and a lot of this intelligence, that's really where I think that the future of this stuff is going.
Yeah, and to your point, I know you said about weeding out the higher loan amounts or the FICO scores that you want to work with, but I think it's also important too to look back and see these demographics I did the best with. I tend to work better with people under 30 years old or in a suburban area and that kind of thing, because if you had success with those people in the past, it's likely that you're going to have success with them in the future. So I think that's a great point. Yeah. Josh Cohen, how about you?
Yeah, I agree. Data and analytics is incredibly important. We are providing, again, right out of the box, a lot of pre-built reporting so that you can track all of this information. You can also create custom reporting. And then we provide filters with a couple hundred data points so that you can quickly and easily just pull up any list or demographic of folks that you want to target. So I agree with everything my counterparts are saying here. But we have also included some additional functionality that makes this even simpler for the brokers. So these are things like prioritization, right? Every one of the pipelines that we have in our platform are automatically prioritized so that every time you pull up a particular pipeline, whether you're focused on new, leads, previous clients, referral partners, you may want to do a marketing campaign to them as well. Everything is prioritized for you so that all you have to do is focus on folks from the top down, right? Again, creating efficiencies and saving time. We also provide things like lead distribution rules so that as leads come in, they are automatically being delivered to the appropriate broker based on whatever criteria you have set. Could be geographic criteria. It could be loan value criteria. It could be a language criteria, right? A Spanish-speaking lead comes in. We want that to go to our broker who is fluent in Spanish. So instead of having to open that lead, figure out where it needs to go, and reassign it to the appropriate team member, all of that is automated. And then we also have created a couple of ways to make sure you're getting the most value out of your leads. So we have something called Shark Tank, right? So if a lead is not being communicated with or followed up with in a timely manner, it can go into a pool where anyone on the team can go grab that lead and work it so that they, again, are not shopping for another broker option. We also have something called Quick Fire Connect. When an inbound call comes in, it can notify everyone on the team or the people that you want it to notify, and whoever accepts that notification first now owns that lead and is working it right away. So incoming leads are being worked immediately. They're being followed up with by a human being through Quick Fire as soon as possible. And then again, yes, it's certainly incredibly important to make sure that you're following up with previous clients that are sitting in your pipeline and they are not being ignored. So pulling up a list of your clients, filtering based on interest rate or other criteria, and then being able to target them, when you have an hour of free time to pull some additional deals into your business is incredibly important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You guys all have such great insight. So thank you so much for jumping on with us today. As we say at AIME, the best CRM is the one that you actually use. So I think it's so important now more than ever. Pipelines are full. Make sure you're really leveraging those CRMs, keeping track of who you're working with, and getting that follow-up in place so that your pipeline can be full in the future as well. So if you guys are in the market for a CRM, make sure to check out all 3 of these CRMs. You can go to our Brokers Are Better network page, or if you have any questions and want to get connected to the team, you can email babnetwork@aimegroup.com. So thank you guys so much for jumping on today. This was really valuable.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Bob.
Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Take care.